I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. On the Senate floor Thursday, Senator Cortez Masto voiced her support of the Freedom to Travel for Healthcare Act. The legislation will protect the right of those traveling across state lines for abortion access. The Nevada senator delivered impassioned remarks disagreeing with Senator James Lankford. On the Senate floor Thursday, the Oklahoma Republican labeled the Biden administration as, quote, the most pro-abortion administration in American history. Listen in for Senator Cortez Masto's response.
Without objection, senator is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so appreciate my colleague from Oklahoma coming here to talk. I disagree with his arguments, but I do appreciate his profound belief in what he's saying. I think it's ironic that the issue here before us is really a states' rights issue. It's exactly what Justice Alito did in the Dobbs case and referred this issue to the states to make that decision. And all my legislation says is respect my state. We are a choice state. We've made that decision as a state, and if women want to travel to my state to seek services and my providers want to provide those services and employers want to help women travel, then let the states do that. We shouldn't be impeding those decisions. So it's kind of ironic that I hear my colleagues talking about, in this case, let's take the emotion out of it, except when they want to put the emotion in the issue, or let's respect states' rights when it's not convenient for the arguments they're making. Let me also address a couple of things, because now I've learned from some of my colleagues, really the arguments they're going to start making that somehow this legislation is flying an abortionist, which it absolutely is not. It's a states' rights issue, and nobody's flying into my state to provide health care. The actual health care is already there. The other thing I've heard, which is actually very offensive to me, and I think so many, is that somehow this is trafficking women. Well, let me tell you about trafficking. I know trafficking. I wrote the law to prevent sex trafficking, sexual exploitation in the state of Nevada for so many who were being sexually exploited across this country, to hold the predators accountable, to make sure that they can become survivors. This is not trafficking. And for anyone to stand up and say this has a complete misunderstanding, and quite honestly, I am welcoming you to the fight about human trafficking in this country that is sexual exploitation for women and children across the country. That is so offensive. But I'm not surprised, because in this day and age, unfortunately, some of these radical ideas coming out of this Congress miss what is happening across the country. A majority of Americans in this country support the right of women to choose. Because you know why? I don't know what it's like to step in their shoes and walk in their shoes, and nor do you. Nor does anyone here. I shouldn't impose my beliefs, my religion, my ideas on what they should do for their lives. None of us should. That's the freedom in this country. That's who we are when we stand for freedoms and liberty. It doesn't mean we get to pick and choose those freedoms and take away the rights of the very individuals because we believe differently or our religion thinks that we should do differently. That's what we do when we come into this Congress and we all work together to the benefit of everyone and not erode their rights and their future and their opportunities. That's what this is about. This legislation is very simple. Let's protect those freedoms. Let's make sure we protect those states' rights and allow women, healthcare providers, and employers to actually support and help one another in this country. That's what this legislation does. And to say otherwise is misconstruing, it's fear-mongering, and a continuing erosion of the debate of the constitutional rights and the American rights in this country right now. And that's the problem with Congress. Mr. President, I yield the floor.